Why, hello dear viewer, and welcome back again to a new episode of Deep Dog Proletarian. Because that's... I think I did that joke a few times, didn't I? Where I said that's like the only thing that you can expect in these troubled times. And I mean, there's a corn of truth in it, a grain of truth. I mean, I am always here, nearly every week. I'm currently finishing up my last exam. Probably when this video goes up, it's already going to be finished. It's going to be the 9th of July. No, June, not July. June, I will be done. And then I can focus even more on this channel because then I'll have a lot of free time after that, basically, until I get my final grades. So, what are we talking about today, Deep Dog? Well, simple, my dear anonymous viewer. We're talking about Hollow Knight sub-areas, specifically two ones which I absolutely enjoy all the time and who are probably the two reasons I'm going back to this game a lot more than I should. Because you see, I played through one file, 112%. I did basically everything except for all the bindings with the Pantheons. I did complete the last one though. I did do a few bindings, but not all of them because that was just too hard and too long for me. So I sadly didn't visit the Land of Storms. But I could maybe do it with the glitch. I mean, that would be a bit that would be cheating, yeah. But I mean, at least it would be interesting. So, I'm getting confused again. So, Land of Storms is also a sub-area, so that's kind of a segue for what I'm talking about now, which is sub-areas in Hollow Knight. Sub-areas in Hollow Knight are probably the most enjoyable things about this game. Aside, you know, music, areas, gameplay, bosses, and all lore and stuff. And if we push all that aside, then we can say, yeah, sub-areas are probably the best thing about this game. And there are numerous of them. You've got the failed tramway in Deepness, you've got the Beast Den as well. You've got the White Palace and this like little room where there's like I don't know what, there's like a baby room or something, or the room where the Pale King probably made the King's Molds. I'll probably show an image on screen or something. Different areas, different sub-areas. You've got a lot of them. You've got the Tower of Love, I think it was called, or the Sanctum, which is another great segue because that's the first sub-area that I want to talk about indefinitely. Forever. I just want to talk about it forever. Because you see, I've been recently playing Hollow Knight again in a new file because I was bored and because I already also really love this game. And so I decided to just play through the game again, and then I came upon the Sanctum, which is honestly a lot more complex and incredible than I thought it was the first time. For the first time, I just basically stumbled upon it. I didn't really have like a sort of coordinated way I wanted to go. I just stumbled upon it and was like, oh, okay. Here's the boss, nice, now I get this new ability. I can dash down the floor and stuff and break everything. Wow, incredible. But I have to give props to Team Cherry for making this area. Because you first enter the area, there's like a kind of gate. Not really a gate, like you're not stopped to go into it, but there's like a face on the side of the whole City of Tears tower and stuff, where you can then go into the Soul Sanctum. And as soon as you go in there, like the music gets different. It got a lot more. I've got some Castlevania vibes kind of from it. It's honestly fantastic. I'll probably play the soundtrack in the background right now, and it sounds so good. It sounds so good. It sounds so mysterious because then you go upwards and then suddenly you fight one of these new enemies who spring like these fucking balls at you, these soul balls or something, and you're like, oh no, what the shit? That's a lot more hard than the bloody palace guards that I've been fighting this whole time, or the city guards or whatever. And you're like, oh no, this getting complex, and he springs all around you and teleports, and then you beat one of them, and then you're like, that was pretty hard. And then next room there's like 5 of them, and you're like, oh dear lordy. And then you also fight this other dude, like with this small sword. I forgot his bloody name right now. It was the Soul Warrior. I just looked it up. Soul Warrior. Yeah, he's like jumping all around you and playing, and I mean, he isn't the hardest boss, but he is an excellent lead up to the other boss in this area, which is the Soul Master, or well, also the Soul Tyrant if you get the Dreamnail ability later on. And the Soul Master is kind of a tragic figure, and the whole of the Soul Sanctum is basically one tragedy outplaying itself in front of you, because you get all these like little hints and like these lore tablets which you can look at, and it's basically like they tried to get all the soul, they tried to defend Halnest with the soul because they mistrusted the king and his efforts and saw that he wasn't succeeding, so he thought maybe with soul they could probably win. But then they're getting like crazy, and I think also infection still gets them or something, I don't know, I'm kind of unsure right now. But anyway, they completely turn crazy, and just the Soul Sanctum is basically one big station for soul cultists in stasis, like eternity of stasis. If the player wouldn't come to the area, it would just stay like that forever. That's really tragic, because these guys are not obviously evil. They tried to bloody help the kingdom, for God's sake, after the king was doing his shit all the time, basically fucking everyone's lives up, and they were trying to fucking help the whole bloody kingdom with their soul, and they get basically blasted for it. They get nothing. They're just enemies you fight along your way. One of the endless enemies that you fight along your way to, well, defeat the Hollow Knight in the end, or, well, I don't know, kill the dreamers and stuff. Whatever you do in your playthrough, whatever you do, they're basically just one small part of it, and that's really sad, because the Soul Sanctum is such a complex sword, and it gets so tragic if you think about it for too long, because these poor souls, these poor bogs, just wanted to help the kingdom and the people they love, and they got crazy doing it, and they basically screwed everything up, and the soul was in the end a nasty bitch and just biting them back. And so they rest forever in the stasis of a Soul Sanctum, basically a light version of the Teacher's Archives, and just sit there in the City of Tears forever, only to be killed by you. It's so sad. It's honestly really tragic, and that's why I love this area. But the music's also fantastic. As I said, the music, bene excelente. Now, the ability you get from the Soul Master is not really that good. I mean, okay, I use it sometimes, mostly when I'm killing Dung Defender. But otherwise, it's not really that important. It's not the best ability, I must admit. Like Dash and Shadow Dash and Double Jump, that's a lot more important than bloody swinging your face down the ground. It is useful for getting to Crystal Peaks, though, so I mean, that's kind of a bonus. That's a bonus, yeah. Now, the other great sub-area, though it's hard to, I don't know if you could classify it as an area, like, I think Hollow Knight Wiki Extra Life or something, classified as an entire area, which is obviously stupid because it isn't an area. But the next sub-area I wanted to talk about was the Colosseum of Fools, which is probably my favorite sub-area in the entire game. Now, we won't talk about the other sub-areas. Let's just say some of them are really quite good, like the Palace Grounds, where you basically go into the White Palace, which is also cool, like an area, like a sub-area in a sub-area or something. That's pretty good, even though it's really hard, and not all that much happens there, but at least it's interesting and cool, except, yeah, some lore bits get added, but I mean, it's not really that important. But otherwise, some sub-areas are pretty good. Like, I like the failed tramway for some reason. That's always been quite of a nice location to go to, even though it's in a horrible location. And the Tower of Love is pretty interesting. I say interesting, but I mean, there's also not much going on there, but it's interesting. But the Colosseum of Fools is different, because it takes you, first of all, it has a really cool aesthetic. Like this, so I don't know if it's a carcass or something of a giant bug, where it's in, you just go in there and can decide which trial you want to do. Like, I don't know which one is the word, Trial of the Night, probably, I think. There were different trials, anyway, free trials, and you see this guy hanging from above, and you have to basically pay him to do any of the trials. Then you go down below, and you see all the warriors resting there, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? What's this? Are these people, like, not infected? What are they doing? What am I doing here? Then you sit on the bench, and you just go up, and then you give the good dude some geo, and then he says, yeah, now you can do the trials, and you're like, okay, then I'll do the first one. And then you go into this arena, and everyone is applauding you, and Jesus Christ, there's enemies coming everywhere, and you fight them and smash them, and suddenly in the end it's Zod, and you have to fight Zod, and Zod's so ass to fight. But I mean, it's so easy and cool, and everyone cheers you, and you get all that money, and I think you also get ore or something. You definitely get something. You get something special, but I forgot what it was. Or do you get like a charm notch? Have to look that up now. Yeah, so it's free trials. It's the Trial of the Warrior, which is obviously the first one where you fight Zod. I mean, that's basically nothing. And you also get a charm notch, which is really cool, because charm notches are always appreciated in my playthrough. And then for the second one, Trial of the Conqueror, you get a pale ore, which is also really important, because I like having my sword upgraded by the Nailsmith, because he's also a cool character. And then there's the Trial of the Fool, the last one, where you get money and also an achievement, which is basically nothing. And the bosses there are also really cool. I mean, I mentioned Zod already, which is obviously not that big of a boss. But you also get to fight the Blubbles, like something Mr. Bean would say. And God Tamer, which is one of the most interesting bosses, because you know so little about them. They're just an enemy for the arena. That's basically it. Now, if you thought that was everything for the Colosseum of Fools, then you're bloody wrong, because there's also a lot of different things, like the whole sort of things connected with it. You first got Tizo's arc. Tizo is like a warrior, which you find along your travels in Halness. He's pretty arrogant, pretty much an arrogant prick. But I mean, you in the end see that he dies, so that's kind of karma, I would say. And it's kind of sad because he lies there like in Kingdom's Edge on a bloody stone, and he's like, why did this happen to me? And you never even got to fight him. And then they even do a fake out boss later in the Pantheons, which is also really pussy. Thank you, Team Cherry, for ruining this character. Poor boy. What a poor boy. What a prick, but also what a poor boy. Now, you've got his arc connected to it because he wants to fight, the greatest warriors in the kingdom, and he goes to the Colosseum of Fools and fails poorly. But you've also got like another side area to the Colosseum of Fools. You can go to the side of it, and then you find this like pale, I don't know what he's called again. I have to look that one up as well. Yeah, it's the pale lurker. And he also gives you something, I forgot what it was, but it was basically that you have to go to his sort of sub area, sort of sub arena or something, and then you also have to kind of kill him while he's jumping away from you the entire time. And he drops a simple key, so that's also pretty important, I would say. I mean, it's something. it's something. And her description also, I think, yeah, it was her, yeah, she was female. And her description also reads, forgotten champion of the Colosseum, drawn away by strange obsessions. This odd creature is unaffected by and unaware of the disease drifting through the caverns. Its madness is all its own. So it's basically not even infected, it's just some sort of poor guy, or poor girl, I know something, poor bug girl, got infected. Not infected, got mad, and was obsessed by the stupid simple key she's holding. What the brick? That's just stupid. That's just honestly stupid. But I mean, at least it's an interesting part of the Colosseum, and also the whole side of the Colosseum is really interesting. It's really quite the great visual, which you can look at. I'll probably put sun images on screen. So that's my two favorite areas, and I mean, honestly, that's probably what makes Hollow Knight really great, and stand out from other games. That even though it's got like the normal areas and stuff, it's also got this whole other side content which you can look, like the different tragedies of people. Like we just had the story of the Pale Lurker, even though it's not obviously that complex or not even that much explained or something. You've also got the Lord Fool in the Colosseum, the dead corpse who's just sitting there. You're like, what's up with him? Was he a worm? Was he just like some sort of king bug for Colosseum? Did he was he like a mafia boss and sponsored some fights or something? You're like, what the hell is going on? What are all these bugs doing? It's all these like different side complexes and stuff. These different areas of interest where there's like whole other stories connected with it. And you're like, wow, it's such a big game. And that's why I was fearful of trying it out the second time, of doing a second playthrough, because it's just so big. Once you've played through all of it, you're kind of like, holy crap, I have to do quite a lot again if I want to 100% complete again, or well, 112% complete it. But that's also what makes this game so fantastic, because it's just a big old grand game, it's a grand game, and I hope Silksong is the same. I hope you have like different stories and stuff. If you've already got a few stories, you've got like Sherma and Chakra and I don't know, the Church Keep or something. It's all these different stories, and I hope like in this world where you're obviously going to meet a lot more NPCs than in the first game, there's going to be a lot more conflict and stories and tragedies, and you get to meet all these different people and tribes and families and their different stories and stuff, and you get all the exploring, but there's also still the mysterious element to it where you can discover the different histories and stuff, and it's going to be probably fantastic. I have a lot of trust in Team Cherry there. Please don't screw it over. But I have a lot of faith in the whole Hollow Knight series, and this game proved to me that games can be something more. It was really quite a fantastic experience. This is kind of turned into a love letter to Hollow Knight, but I'm going to do that on bloody Valentine's Day next year probably. I mean, Stills already did that. Go check him out, by the way. It's information box and stuff. But I have to do it for my own as well. And so, my dear friends, we come to an end once again. And I hope you all enjoyed this little video of mine, which was basically, well, little. I mean, it's 50 minutes long nearly. And I hope you just enjoyed me rambling about stuff. What would you like to see in the near future? What should I talk about? What do you want my opinion on? Do you want any more from Silksong? Do you want more Hollow Knight? Do you want more, I don't know, random games and stuff? Please tell me your answers down in the comments below, and I'll speak to you soon. Farewell, dear viewer.